Today we're going to go over 5 AJ Lee dream matches. It's going to be more like 7, but YouTube love top 5 lists, and I want to appease the algorithm because I'm desperately trying to quit my day job and produce wrestling content full time. But yeah, I'll do 5 or 6, and also I will talk about how people out there are hating on AJ Lee or people who like AJ Lee. I've seen on multiple sites like Facebook and Twitter, bear with me, I'm over 40. Yes, I still use Facebook. Yes, I still call it Twitter. That say are like, name 5 AJ Lee matches that you like, because they're trying to show us that she's overrated, and you're missing the point. It's not the AJ Lee matches that made us fall in love with AJ Lee. We get invested in the characters, and then we get invested in their matches. Yeah, she's had some good matches with Paige and whatnot, but like, it's not necessarily the matches that make us love AJ Lee. AJ Lee was in a time of the Divas era, and I'm not gonna crap on the Divas era. I didn't particularly enjoy Divas wrestling, I'm not gonna lie, but I will also admit that they have their place in WWE history. That said, AJ Lee didn't seem like she was really interested in being on Total Bellas, Total Divas on the E! Network. She seemed like she wanted to actually be a wrestler, and that was a breath of fresh air. And she had a character, and she had a good mic. She had presence. She could just, she would skip around the ring, distract the guys. She was good looking, not gonna lie, let's just get that out of the way. I'm a dude, I can see it, but that's not what it was. That was not her important trait. She was more than someone that was just cute. She was crazy. Don't call her crazy. She was a GM. She could hang in storylines. I remember when she kissed Kane, and Kane was just like, he didn't know what to do about that. It was funny. It was hilarious. She was an actual character who treated wrestling like a sport, and that's why AJ Lee is appreciated. She was like a prototype of today's woman wrestler. She was like, she was hanging with the dudes before Becky was. So I'm happy that AJ is back. That said, I do have some dream opponents that I would like for her to wrestle, because I do feel that she treated wrestling, maybe she actually treated wrestling like wrestling was more important back then than other women in the Divas division did. And so maybe she wasn't ever able to really showcase what she could do in the ring to her full potential, because you need a good dance partner. Macho Man can't have his awesome match with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat if he doesn't have Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at WrestleMania 3. Undertaker can't have the best match of all time at WrestleMania 25 if Shawn Michaels isn't there to dance with him. So I'm hoping that AJ Lee can have a great dance partner right now. I'm going to go with 5, but there's probably more. Number 1, the first one I want her to fight is actually the Four Horsewomen. Now, I wish it was Sasha, but she's not available. So it's 3 of the Four Horsewomen, unless Sasha comes back. But I love this because, honestly, did you know that AJ Lee is actually a couple months younger than Becky? And that's crazy, because you're like, whoa, she's younger than Becky, but 10 years ago, AJ was on top. That's right. They missed each other on the roster by like 3 months. AJ Lee got into the WWE kind of right before NXT became like a real thing, when they started taking NXT serious as a developmental territory in the WWE. So AJ came through the old style and was able to rise up. It benefited her, but it meant that she never crossed paths with the Four Horsewomen. And the Four Horsewomen are the ones that are credited with the give the divas a chance, give the women a chance, the women's revolution. So I would love if, like I said, the prototype versus the actual, the type, the women. So you do Bayley, you could do Charlotte. Charlotte could easily say, you know what? You left. You couldn't handle it. Yeah, you were part of the Divas division. I'm part of the women's revolution. I made women's wrestling what it is. And then, AJ could counter back. If it wasn't for me, you would never even been looked at other than a reality TV star. So, there's a lot of potential right there, a lot of potential potential. We're going to talk Becky at the end because I do, we're going to get Becky and AJ, but I think there's a great reason for Becky and AJ to fight. Not just what I just said, but that applies. We'll go towards the end with Becky Lynch. The next one I would like for her to fight, number 2, is I would like for her to be in the Royal Rumble. I would like for AJ to be in a Money in the Bank. I would like for AJ Lee to be in a Queen of the Ring. I would like for AJ Lee to be in a Women's Elimination Chamber, because that stuff, they would have never had even a remote possibility of having it back in the day. The women's TV time was like 2 minutes to 6 minutes if you were lucky. Like, seriously, if you were lucky, you would get 6 minutes of airtime on WWE TV. And usually that would mean there would have to be some kind of pool, like kiddie pool with jello or mud in it. And I wish I was joking. So, like, for AJ Lee to get to experience that kind of, like, those specialty matches, to me, that would be super cool. Because, again, I feel that AJ meant so much to the business, the women's side of the business, that I would like her to experience that. A Money in the Bank ladder match. That would be great. Another person I would like her to fight is Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green would be great because, again, Chelsea Green's a great wrestler. I mean, she's a great wrestler, but she's an even better character. And that's how I view AJ Lee. She's a great wrestler, but an even better character. And I would love to see a feud between those two because of the character work that each of them can throw at each other. You know what? We might as well throw Naomi in there too for that same exact fact. And yeah, that means AJ will have to be around for about a full year, but I'm okay with that. And Naomi comes back, and again, that character work. And Naomi on Twitter has been like kind of crashing out with the fact that she's like, of all the times for me to be pregnant, I'm paraphrasing, it's when AJ Lee comes back. Because Naomi, she was around back then. Naomi was a diva back then. And so she does have a friendship with AJ Lee. But, obviously we could just make it into a frenemy situation where she hates her because she just does. You think you can come back when I'm gone? This is still my turf. And I would just love to see that because, again, the character work of Chelsea Green and Naomi versus the character work of AJ Lee, a feud like that would be amazing. Don't even need a belt for that. I would love for her to fight Io Sky. I feel that Io Sky is probably the best women's wrestler right now. Maybe Rhea too. You could throw Rhea on there. Those two are probably the best women's wrestler on the division right now, on the top of the card. And I would like that just because I would like to see AJ Lee be able to showcase that she's also a very good wrestler. She might have some ring rust, but that's to be expected. 10 years out of the game, that's difficult. But yeah, so Io Sky and or Rhea Ripley just for that pure wrestling. So AJ Lee could have her Shawn Michaels Undertaker match at WrestleMania 25. She could have hers on her resume. So when the haters say, what's your favorite match? AJ versus Io Sky. I can throw that out there. Bianca Belair also, you know what? For the wrestling ability, you could throw Bianca Belair on there. But personally, Bianca, this is just a selfish one. I don't know a way to get these two at odds with each other because they're both just going to be cheered for a long time. They're my two favorites. They're literally my two favorite female wrestlers of all time. Bianca Belair and AJ Lee. So, I have no match. If it's a Queen of the Ring, how about that? That's the Queen of the Ring finals. Let's do that because that's just a personal, my two favorite wrestlers. Usually you don't get that. Usually you don't get your all-time favorites able to actually go head to head, especially when one has retired. And here we are living in this world where that can happen. So Bianca, AJ, just for me, please. Let's bring back Paige. I would love to bring back Paige, even if it's for a one-off. And this has to happen. Triple H loves to bring back people, men or women, so he can get the giant pop. So, I fully expect Paige to come back, but AJ versus Paige would be great because Paige actually kind of falls in the same category of everything I said earlier about Paige. Now, Paige didn't really get to have any programs with the dudes, but but that's okay. She was also somebody who treated wrestling like a sport, had a character, and was just really good and had personality. And she was a GM. She was a GM also for Smackdown. So I would love for those two to rekindle their feud, but ultimately, I would like them to become friends and go for the women's tag team titles. I don't care who it is, whether it's going to be the frenemies, not friends, Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, or it's the Kabuki Warriors. Actually, let's make it the Kabuki Warriors. How about that? Let's make it the Kabuki Warriors, because I would love to see AJ versus Asuka as well. So that would be cool. That would be cool. The Kabuki Warriors are going to beat not friends, and then AJ Paige, they're the ones to beat the Kabuki Warriors. And the reason for this is because, again, kind of like the Royal Rumble and all the specialty matches, I would like AJ to experience the fact that the women's division is so strong that a tag team title was able to be created, and for her and her friend Paige to be able to be the ones to hold the belts up, that would be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. Two more to go. I would like to see AJ Lee versus Nia Jax, that would be Nia Jax is a big bully, right? We could have Nia Jax just hating the fact that AJ Lee is getting so much attention, and Nia Jax, I know people hate her, but I love Nia Jax. I would love for her to get away from Tiffany Stratton and for her to do something new, and it would be the cool David versus Goliath right here, in that, I've always viewed AJ as kind of a smaller female, and, well, Nia's a bigger female, so that would be a cool big man, little man match. You could also do it with Lash Legend in place of Nia Jax, and again, you would have the big man, little man dynamic here. I would love that because it might elevate Lash, but Lash Legend or Nia Jax here, because I would like to see that dynamic. And finally, we're going to circle back to Becky Lynch, part of the Four Horsewomen. This would be great because they have so much in common. Like I said, they both were able to be in programs with the men. They are so talented that they could cross over into the men's storylines. Becky did main event WrestleMania, and she is the best, and that's not just me saying it, that's Sports Illustrated, so she could hold that over AJ, but AJ can again just say, you know what? You would have never had the opportunities that you have had if it wasn't for me. And that could get under Becky's skin. And where this leads is AJ Lee will beat Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental title. And the reason for this is because now we go to the real dream match, and that's Roxanne Perez. AJ Lee versus Roxanne Perez. And some people might not know this, so that's it might seem like an off-the-wall choice here, because it's wait, Roxanne Perez? Isn't she kind of mid-card, a lower card? I don't know what she is. In NXT, she was a main eventer, but on the main roster yet, she hasn't elevated to that main event yet. But here's the thing. AJ Lee and Roxanne Perez, they have personal history. Roxanne Perez is only 20, and when she was coming up in the business, she made a connection with CM Punk and Roxanne Perez, and Roxanne Perez actually idolized AJ Lee, and she dressed up like her. There's lots of pictures that you can find online if you Google it, but the thing is, she views CM Punk and AJ Lee like her second parents, her second home, her home away from home, and so we can really play on that. We can, it wouldn't necessarily be Dom and Ray, but it could be kind of like that, where Roxanne Perez is kind of just going against the grain of everything AJ Lee is saying and doing, and that could even draw Dominic Mysterio and Roxanne Perez together because of their hatred for their parental figures in their lives. But yes, Roxanne Perez will eventually topple AJ Lee with how much of a horrible human being that Roxanne is, within the storylines. And so that's the dream match right there. The ultimate dream match is AJ with the title and Roxanne Perez taking it off her. And there you have it. There's a lot of potential matches. Liv Morgan versus AJ Lee is great. I can't really frame it. I can't really figure out how to make that happen right this second, but there's opportunities everywhere. Like the whole women's division is stellar. Stephanie Vakir, Julia versus AJ. Yeah, people are going to pay for that, but the matches that I laid out there and the reasons why I could see those happening almost instantly after her feud with Becky Lynch. And I don't want her to go right from Becky to Roxanne Perez. I think we can wait. We can have some matches. That could be like the end result. AJ versus Roxanne Perez at WrestleMania. Book that for the Intercontinental title. That would be amazing and awesome. Bonus points. This is a moment. If somehow, some way, CM Punk is ever to win the world title and Sheamus becomes the #1 contender. Bonus points if AJ kisses CM Punk before the match, the bell rings, throw kick. Sheamus wins the belt in about 8 seconds. That's a WrestleMania callback. All right, boys. All right, girls. What did you think of my dream matches for AJ Lee? And if you weren't around during the time frame of AJ Lee, I understand why you're all scratching your head like, what's so special about this person? Hopefully this video helped you out and realize why some of us old timers who still are just yelling at clouds, why we love and appreciate the wrestler AJ Lee. Boys, girls, have yourselves a great day.